Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are, it is right now, you are right here. My name is Manuel, and it's my pleasure to welcome you. Today is day 6 of the show, and I have to congratulate you for making the best decision of the day to spend some time with me. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, folks, let's start today once again in Genoa City with the young and the restless because the chessboard is getting crowded and Victor Newman is once again moving pieces like he's playing 3 games at once. So we continue to watch Kane in absolute desperation mode. His entire world right now revolves around rescuing Lily and the kids. He's running around Genoa City trying to figure out what move to make next, and he's convinced that if he can somehow get Chancellor away from Billy, give it back to Victor, that Victor will return Lily and the children. But let's be honest here. At this point, it's becoming painfully obvious that Victor was telling the truth when he said that Lily is in on everything. Victor hasn't outright admitted that he made a deal with Lily, but look at the evidence piling up. We know that this week Victor goes as far as kidnapping Jack Abbott in order to force Billy's hand over Chancellor. Think about that for a second. Kidnapping Jack is not some casual move. That's nuclear level Victor Newman behavior. And why? Because Chancellor suddenly matters more than anything else on the board, which leads to the obvious conclusion. Victor promised Chancellor to Lily as part of her cooperation. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Victor may have made that promise, but right now he doesn't actually have Chancellor, which means Victor Newman, the man who prides himself on always being 10 moves ahead, might suddenly be the one scrambling. Because Lily has to know what's happening on the outside. She has to know the chaos that's unfolding, and it makes me wonder if Lily has already delivered Victor a little ultimatum of her own. Something along the lines of, Victor, you can't deliver Chancellor. Our deal is off. Now, imagine what happens if Lily suddenly reappears free and safe before Kane has done everything Victor wants him to do. That would completely blow up Victor's master plan. And here's where the double whammy comes in. Because if the truth comes out that Victor promised Chancellor to Lily behind everyone's backs, and on top of that, we learn that Victor kidnapped Jack trying to get it back, I don't see how Nikki overlooks any of that. Victor might be a master strategist, but even Nikki has limits, and this kind of manipulation, even by Victor standards, might finally cross the line. I mean, she puts up with everything. Now, let's talk about another wild card in all this, Phyllis. Phyllis helping Kane here really surprises me. Because, first of all, are we really going to do this again? Stabbing Billy in the back? Haven't we seen this enough times already? But even more important, Phyllis should know Victor better than anyone alive. She's been very confident telling Kane that Victor won't hurt Lily and the kids, and I actually believe she's right about that. Victor's not going to harm them, but that's not the issue. The issue is that Victor is always scheming. If Phyllis helps Kane steal Chancellor from Billy and hand it back to Victor, she's not solving a problem. She's giving Victor back a weapon he didn't have anymore. And once Victor has the weapon again, guess what? He's going to use it. And Phyllis, of all people, should know that once Victor starts gaining leverage again, everybody eventually ends up in his crosshairs. Now, I understand Phyllis's motivation. She believes that if Kane succeeds, it might help her with Daniel. Maybe it softens Daniel enough to forgive her. But honestly, Daniel's probably going to forgive her eventually anyway. That's how those relationships tend to work in Genoa City. I mean, come on. If he could forgive her for faking her own death, he's going to forgive her for this. Which, to me, makes Phyllis's sudden naivety here feel a little out of character. But one thing is certain. With Victor kidnapping Jack, Lily secretly dealing with Victor, Kane running around trying to pull off a corporate heist, and Phyllis inserting herself into the middle of all of it, we are heading toward a storm of double crosses and betrayals. And the moment I am really waiting for is when the truth about Lily finally explodes into the open. Boom! Because when Kane realizes she worked with Victor, oh boy, that is going to be devastating. And when Nikki learns what Victor actually promised Lily and how far he went to cover it up, that might shake the Newman Empire to its core. Worse than anything we've seen so far. All right, Now let's pivot over to the bold and beautiful, where hypocrisy is apparently the fashion trend of the week. Although I would say it's the fashion trend every week. Because right now, Sheila might actually be the victim in this situation. No. Let me not say might. She is the victim in this situation. Sheila has bent over backwards trying to reform. She's tried to stay out of trouble. She's been loyal to Deacon. She even risked her life for Steffy. And yet, no matter what she does, she's still treated like the monster under the bed. Now, Steffy, at least I can say, is consistent. I won't say she's hypocritical in all this, because Steffy has always believed Sheila's dangerous, and she still does believe that. She doesn't want she doesn't want Sheila anywhere near her family. She doesn't trust Sheila. And whether you agree with that or not, Steffy has never wavered. But Hope, oh, come on. Hope has suddenly become the queen of hypocrisy. Hope, the woman who spent years talking about loyalty and heartbreak and betrayal, is now encouraging her father to dump Sheila and go be with Taylor. In other words, Hope is advocating doing to another woman exactly what devastated her when it's happened to her time and again. And that's not even the biggest contradiction. Because at the same time Hope is pushing Deacon to leave Sheila, she's also defending Sheila. She literally reminded Steffy that Sheila once risked her life to save her and that maybe she's changed. Well, hold on a second. If Sheila has changed and she's a better person now, then why are you trying to destroy her relationship? You can't have it both ways. And her brother, Deke, was in on it too. He was saying, oh, I've spent a lot of time with Sheila, and she seems like a pretty good person. What? Look, either Sheila's dangerous, in which case Steffi's concerns make sense, or Sheila has reformed. But for the Deacon's kids, somehow they want to argue both things at the same time. And there's another possibility we have to consider. You see, yesterday, Hope made it very clear that she wasn't going to let Steffi tell her what to do anymore. Which raises what I think is the real question. Is Hope actually doing this because she thinks it's best for her father? Or is this just another chapter in the never-ending Hope versus Steffi rivalry? Because if this whole crusade is really about proving Steffi wrong, about thumbing her nose at Steffi, then Hope might be blowing up someone else's relationship just to win an argument. And that is no good at all. That's not being a good person. That's just pure ego. Either way, the logic doesn't hold up. The hypocrisy is thick enough to cut with a knife, and I have the feeling the fallout from all this is going to be just as explosive as anything happening over in Genoa City. And honestly, that's exactly why we watch, right? We want those explosive moments. Because on these shows, when the secrets finally come out, oh man, that's when the fireworks always begin, and they are always worth waiting for. All right, that's enough for today. We'll continue tomorrow, and as always, stay bold and stay restless.